Just a quick pop in from Future Seth here. At the time that this audio was being recorded initially, or video, sorry, I was putting it together for release, and basically shortly after, in the process of that, the Bungie layoffs have all happened. Now, I don't mean this video to be like, even that the game is dead. I'm not gonna dogpile onto the devs. I don't even think it's the devs' fault. Pete Parsons is probably a scumbag because I take all the blame, but I'm not gonna let anyone put the blame on me and immediately hide my classic cars as kind of a shit take. But I've been laid off myself. That's a big reason. If you go back to where the channel just stopped for like 3 years, and we'll leave it at that. So yeah, my best wishes to all the devs who are currently either in new roles or looking for new roles. And this isn't intended as a shot at anyone. This is just some honest experiences. And if Destiny does continue for an extended period of time, hopefully maybe they can improve on some of these things. That's all, and I will see you in the video. So yeah, just for a bit of preamble, like some of you, I started out my Destiny experience right around here. I think we might have actually been in one of the cars over here. PlayStation, randomly, I was on vacation from work at the time, sent me in things saying, hey, do you want to play this Destiny game alpha? And I had no actual idea what the hell it was, so I was like, sure, why not? Because I think I was on vacation at the time anyways and had no other plans. Having only just found out that I'd earned vacation at that job. And yeah, I believe that's my founder's emblem up in the top left, though haven't kept specific track. And started here, good old gunslinger, because you couldn't be an arc blade at the start. You had to unlock that. Not arc blade, blade dancer, whatever the blue one. Moved on. Played Destiny 1 pretty much straight through. I took a break with the Taken King because Taken King was an uptick in storytelling and presentation. The end game was kind of garbage. Didn't really offer much, especially coming after House of Wolves and then the later expansions by the same team that had more than one in-game activity that was relevant and had interesting loot. Fell off Destiny 1 a little near the end. I wasn't terribly involved in the Age of Triumph. Jumped on to Destiny 2, played through base Destiny 2. Curse of Osiris was where it started to lose me, because Destiny 1 always had struggles with Forever 28 or Forever 29 and that. But they eventually introduced ways to kind of get around that. You could force exotics to drop and things like that, and they would actually give you light level. It wasn't perfect, and it's going to get mentioned later in the video, but it was there. Destiny 2 did away with all that. Destiny 2, if your milestone decided you weren't going to get a helmet, fuck you, you won't get the power level until the next expansion drops, and we inflate the minimum power level. That kicked me out from doing any of the in-game Curse of Osiris stuff, and when someone bought me Warmind to get me back into the game, the exact same thing happened. I believe it was gloves in that particular occasion. Despite having 3 characters at the time and doing almost all the milestones, yeah, just stuck on one item, couldn't do the expansion. After like 3 or 4 weeks of that, gave the fuck up. Same thing happened with Forsaken too. That one I think I bought myself because it looked pretty hype. And at the end of Forsaken, I did the Riven raid when Season of the Drifter or whatever the fuck dropped afterwards, and then basically said, nah, I'm done with this game until they fix the leveling system. And I came back, I think when the Witch Queen dropped, because I got Beyond Light for free on PlayStation Plus at the time. And that was the first confusing part when I returned, and that didn't go so well. And then about a year later, I tried to return again. And the rest of this video is going to be me explaining why those returns haven't worked either. Because it really feels like I'm trying to come back to something I enjoyed, and As much I still enjoy like running around like this, like the basic gunplay in Destiny, I will always hold up as maybe only Doom in the current era has really kind of nailed that same good feeling gunplay. My guns feel impactful. I just saw this motherfucker's head explode. And it doesn't really fall into that RPG trap that I've most recently noticed in the first Descendant, where it feels like I'm pointing at a health bar and waiting for it to come down rather than firing a gun. Anyways, we'll head into the video now, and I will put up some thoughts about why I can't seem to find the spark in this game anymore. Alright, so starting off with kind of like Helldivers, this is not my main point, but it is a good one that I need to make, and I need to make it by logging in. So here's me, a new or returning player. I think the same thing happened to new players. I can't 100% swear to that though, because I'm not a new player. I wasn't gonna go through a whole rigmarole to simulate myself as a new player. When I hop in here, we get like 50 pop-ups. None of this really means much to me. Some of this isn't even accurate. That's long gone, I think. Alright, it's not currently doing it, so maybe they fixed it. There was a thing where they would immediately dump you into the mission. Oh no, here we are. So I'm a returning player. What the hell is going on? What is this? Like, I have osmosis potential to know what's going on in Destiny, and I don't know what the fuck's going on here. This is Lightfall, or Final Shape? Is it the thing after Final Shape? Like Vex Echoes or something? Why am I being thrown into this random-ass mission?
We have no signal on either Vanguard leader. The Guardian's comm line is open, but
Yeah, this is Final Shape. So if I was a returning player, I kind of am. I haven't done Lightfall yet, and I don't actually own Final Shape, and it's thrown me into this spoiler fest.
you are yet in the threshold.
Don't do that.
Between you and the traveler.
Feels like it's more work to do that than to not do that. I get that it's a marketing thing. Hey, here's the current expansion mission, try it out.
I will try to buy
It's chaotic and confusing. Why would you do this? There's also spoilers in some of these, I think. I know Cade coming back was technically spoiled by the preview mission it fell through me into, even though I think that was in marketing too, so two-edged sword. Anyways, I'll be back on my hunter in a second. We can talk about other things. Alright, so here we are back with our hunter. Now, we open the director. Again, I'm a new player, or even when I was a returning player, I basically needed people that I knew to tell me what the hell I was doing here. You can see there are some icons, like I can see Lightfall up there, and I think I went to the helm initially because I thought that was a new hub because the tower got destroyed or something. You can go over to quests. They'll show a quest. I can tell you from experience, and you confirm this in my VODs, that the quest that shows up here, I had to go digging for most of them. I put Lightfall there as a to-do. View journey. Again, depends when you return from. This isn't gonna really tell you anything. Yes, you can kind of chase these and maybe they mean something. This is all talking about the Pale Heart, which I assume is Lightfall or Final Shape. If we go down to the tower, yeah, figure out that's the new thing, or the spot you're supposed to go to. I don't remember how I got into the new light quest, to be honest with you. I had to do that because my characters all got bugged, but I'm not going to hold that against them. But we head down to the tower. Again, Destiny's load screen, this is on PS5, but they seem insane. I don't know, like, why exactly it takes that long to load. I feel like the tower is not an overly complex geometry. I'm running on 2 GB fiber, so I know it's not the online connection. Yeah, tips or lots of jargon. That's not completely uncommon if you're gonna have a weird MMORPG thing. So, coming down here, I've cleared out some of them. Okay. And I guess some of the stuff, like the one thing, you can't get this shit off the bottom of your screen until you actually. I can't even tell what screen it wants me to be on. Open the director and navigate to. This is the thing, they've overhauled all this so many times that this is the director. It's like. Sure. Fine, whatever. That's the filler content. That's the stuff you do when you're not trying to find the story. I know I went down to the quest archive. I was trying to do that. I think I was trying to replay part of a quest. That's just not a thing you can do. I can grab these because I got rid of them, but that's... And yeah, you land here, there's basically a million icons. I have, in fact, cleared out most of them. Some are relevant, some aren't. Some are more relevant than others. There's a whole section down here with the Drifter and the Black Armory that I don't think is particularly up to date anymore. I think I can go down to it even. It's that other icon over there. Stuff like that. If you look at my channel at all, you see another game I play a lot of is Warframe. A lot of talk about the new player experience in Warframe, and that's its own video, actually. It's the other one in the queue right now. Warframe has a similar problem, but they do the opposite. They don't hit you with they don't hit you with 50,000 objectives and tutorials, and Destiny does, and there's no idea any of what's important here. And I realize this is kind of part and parcel of an MMO game, but it's something they really need to work on, because when I came back as a player who left during the Black Armory, actually, if I remember right, and came back around the time of Witch Queen the first time I tried to come back, and then more recently this year, and I can't figure out how to get to a quest, how to get to the story, how to get to the meat, as it were, the actual missions and not all the filler objectives. That's kind of crazy. Now, moving on, the next thing we get into, again, depending on when you returned, it's all this crap. I can vouch that they basically don't explain this at all. My comparison for it would be when I came back was, it's like if I booted up Path of Exile and I just had all the slots and all the skill gems. I'll actually put a cut in here and you can see what that will look like. So yeah, here we are in Path of Exile with Canalian. If you remember that name, you've been watching this channel way too long, and I have no idea why you've stuck around this long, but thanks. So yeah, this is kind of what I compared to coming in Destiny 2. You see I have gear that's covered in slots. And I could explain what all that does to you, but there's better people to do it. Destiny basically shows you your gear is covered in all these slots and also says, here's all this shit. And Destiny is not the worst at explaining what all the shit is, but it's very much akin to this. It's like, oh, I can put a thing in there that does a thing, and if you do a thing, it does another thing. Like, if you're not a Path of Exile player, or you weren't there when all the Destiny mods got introduced, you're probably looking at what's on the screen and you have no idea what the fuck any of that means. That's what hits me as a returning player to Destiny, never mind a new player. And yeah, it's a problem in Path of Exile. It's most assuredly a problem in Destiny, which has much... Path of Exile, people kind of know they're getting into that kind of nonsense. Destiny is built much more as, hey, yeah, this is a first-person shooter. Your ability to first-person shoot matters a lot more. And then, yeah, like... This is infamously people open this screen and quit Path of Exile. Destiny's not quite to this complication, of course. Anyways, this little tangent aside, we will head back to our Destiny video and I will continue on with what I was saying. So yeah, some of that stuff that she sells all goes in here. This one, actually, you can kind of figure out a lot of it's very well. They've got these little explanations. It's actually one of the better UIs for this sort of thing I've seen, but you can see I've got all these locked ones that do tell you to go talk to Ikora. And yeah, like, this all didn't exist when I first left. So I came back to this. The fun part, which I only ever figured out with the assistance of friends, essentially. When you go into your armor, and this stuff can make a huge difference, you've got all these at once. This is what I talked about. It's like they show you that you've got your 4 Path of Exile slots, for lack of a better terminology, and absolutely everything. But it's all like, how do I put this stuff in? What do I use to buy it? Type situations. You can figure it out. It's crazy to hit a new person with no explanation. Path of Exile, for instance, you pick up 1 gem at the start, and then shortly after you pick up an augment gem. And it doesn't terribly explain it to you, but it at least throws it at you at a pace that a normal person can understand it, mostly without using a guide. Now, kind of the meat of the point of the difficulty of returning to Destiny, or God forbid being a new player. This little icon up here, which does not actually look like something you can click on. This is simultaneously one of Destiny's best features and also a problem. This is the Red War. This is what Destiny 2 initially launched with. You can read a very short synopsis. This is the first 2 DLCs. I think that's just an original. This isn't in the game anymore. I don't think it was necessarily good content. Like, there's a reason that it was removed rather than spruced up. Still, though, as we move up here, we got Forsaken, which I think is back in the game now, or parts of it are. We got Shadowkeep again. There's ups and downs in quality here. Forsaken was generally considered a good one. Shadowkeep was generally considered an awful one. This, I think, is referring to either seasonal content or literally a trailer that was never played out in game. Beyond Light is an expansion, and you can actually play it. 30th anniversary. Not sure what that specifically is about. Witch Queen, this is where I really started to pick up on the problem. When you're playing Witch Queen, again, there's VODs if you really want to see it in live reaction, they start referring to stuff that happened in here, like during this little synopsis, that's where you start getting the disconnect. Because even if you come back, you buy all the expansions for however much money that happens to go. Between here and here, the two playable sections, all of this is like telling you what the hell is going on. Same thing happens between Witch Queen and Lightfall. And you basically start getting to the point where the characters you do know are talking about and motivated by things that you're not going to know unless you like load up my name is Biff, right? Has the 14-hour lore video or something like that. And it completely divorces all the points of connection. By the time you get up to the final shape, there's whole new characters like Saint 14 and stuff that you haven't met in the story that you've played through. Like, this stuff is kind of one and done. This does introduce Osiris, this introduces Anna Bray, but I wouldn't say, again, they're not the best storyteller, most in depth. When you get into this chunk, it divorces what was one of Destiny's strongest story points, as emphasized by the attachment people had to Cade and Zavala. Cade in particular got brought back and things. There's no, the returning player, the new player, they don't have a connection to those characters. They're playing through a series of events while people talk about stuff that's happened and stuff that's going to happen. And even Beyond Light, the Drifter and the Exo Stranger, you've got no deep attachment to that. Again, if you know what Warframe's going on, it's very much like when Teshin just randomly pops up in the middle of the Natah quest. And you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Because Teshin, until that point in the story, is the guy who runs their version of the Crucible. And never interacted in the story outside of an event cameo or two. That's the biggest thing with Destiny is you're trying to pull people in. They gave everyone the 3 expansions for a month as a lead up, but those expansions are confusing gibberish, and there's nothing you can really latch on to and get into the meat of the game, and then you just get to the end and it wants you to repeat the same missions over and over, which has always been a Destiny weakness. And I don't necessarily have a good answer for how you fix that Destiny weakness other than making it proc-gen or randomized, which Curse of Osiris technically was slightly, but they never really followed up on it. I know one of the other seasons has a random dungeon of some kind. One thing I will say for Destiny is that the fact that it's not randomly generated generally makes for better gameplay. Most of the missions, you have something resembling the reason why you're there and objectives, and it feels like it's actually designed and not just a series of random things with a vague end objective that plagues so many random generated games, Warframe included. And yeah, that's the thing, like, if I hadn't had the medical issues and accompanying financial issues to stop me from playing the final shape, or necessarily to jump into Lightfall, I was already losing motivation going through the Witch Queen, because everyone was talking about stuff like I should know it and what all is going on. I'd compare it almost to the Final Fantasy 16 demo, which I also have a Let's Try of. It's kind of the same thing. More action than I ever ran into in that, but it's people saying names and places and drawing on personal connections that have never been adequately shown on screen for me to have any investiture in. It's like I failed to read the novel and now I'm reading the started in book. I've read book 1, and now I'm on book 6, and the other 5 novels are out of print and I've never seen them. Then the other thing with Destiny that's kind of discouraging has always been light level. Not so much that it exists, but that you have to chase light level. And light level People have insisted to me they've changed it. I have not felt it at all. It's always been a system. There's no feeling that you're specifically enhancing your ability. You're not increasing your rate of fire. You're not increasing your lightning damage. There are ways to do some of that. You're chasing an arbitrary number, and if you can't hit that arbitrary number, you may as well forget about endgame content. And there's always this weird gap between the end of the campaign and the start of the end game. And I don't know what it is currently. Failure to research, because I don't have the expansion. And I'd really want to check it out personally if I was going to go in depth on that. But it's always been a thing. And sometimes Taken King, I think, was particularly egregious. It had like a massive amount of levels and grind in between the allegedly start of the end game and the end of the campaign. It's like the soft cap should let you start the end game. Then you start having to do your milestones or your big raids to move up through a more restricted section. Then you get into legendaries or epics or mythics or whatever they call them. In this particular game, I play too many games and the terminology all starts to blend together. And I can't totally speak for the current because they don't have final shape. I know at times they've had that be fairly easy to surmount, and at other times, which is why I quit the first time, it's all been down to just getting lucky with milestone drops, and if the milestones decide that you don't get to have a cape that's at light level 1900, you never go up to 1901 type situation. Again, not the exact numbers. Anyways, that's basically the points. The biggest one is the story disconnect. When I return to the game that I've played for 7 years straight, or 6 years straight, and I can't tell what's going on and only recognize a couple of the characters and have no context for the things that are occurring. And it's a story-based game. At the end of the day, yes, it's a grind game, but it's really trying to hook you on its world and story. And like, it's got the production value to do it. It's just that they've sliced so much of it out, and it's basically unrecoverable that's almost impossible to latch onto the story in any meaningful way. And then, yeah, you've just got the brick wall of here's all the mechanics all at once. Which ones are relevant? Which ones are useful? How do you put together a build? Fucking figure it out or watch a YouTube video. And history is proven, and you'll see in the Path of Exile example I cut in, that doesn't work. People open up a complicated skill system, and if there's no real explanation to it, they uninstall the game and fuck off. Unless it's completely unrequired. Anyways, that's been Destiny. Let me know down below if you think I should try and persevere into the final shape. Like I said, medical/financial issues, can't guarantee when that would be, but there's the part of me that just says I was here in the alpha, I've been here through most of it. Technically, I should probably see the end of the 10-year story and all that. Other than that, just let me know, is there something I have overlooked? Is there a way I could view all those stories other than a paragraph of synopsis on the pseudo-hidden timeline button that would catch me up? Is there a way to replay quests? Because that was another thing I ran into. At one point I came back, went halfway through Beyond Light, and then couldn't find a way just to restart again from the beginning. And things like that. Is there a whole mod tutorial and new player experience that I totally missed, or that the game didn't show me because it assumed that I, despite the 2-year gap, knew what the hell I was doing with all the new stuff? Anyways, leave a like, comment below. We'll see if we pick up from there. If you look in the playlist on the channel, you can find the Return to Destiny 2 playlist, which contains about half of Beyond Light and the Witch Queen as of time of recording. And we will see you all in the next one.